This is a terrible idea. I don't know why I'm doing this. This is an absolutely terrible idea. Although I guess I have to talk about actual trending topics since I'm doing this YouTube thing more seriously, considering it as a part-time job now. I need to start doing more topics people are going to click on as opposed to weird self-referential stuff, I guess. Hey, what's up everybody? Commander Radix here with a new video for you, and before I say anything else, I want to make something clear. I liked Avengers Endgame. Thought it was certainly fun, it was emotional, it was a roller coaster, it served as a wonderful thematic ending to the whole Infinity Saga that the Marvel Cinematic Universe had been building up to at that point. That being said, I did have issues with it, and I think I'm going to focus on those issues I had today, because it won't take you a long time for you to find praise for Endgame, but it'll be slightly harder to find any criticisms of it. I typically tend to praise things that are that face a lot of criticism, and the same is the other way around because I feel that's a more valuable voice out there. I mean, I could just make a review saying, oh, I loved Endgame, but is that going to differentiate it from any other video you're going to see on Endgame? So let's say something that actually matters here today on the discussion of the movie. Now, like a lot of people, I got into the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Iron Man when that original movie came out. I didn't see it in theaters, but I did watch it on DVD around the time it was released. And ever since Iron Man, I've pretty much seen every single Marvel Cinematic Universe in theaters when it came out, with some exceptions. But I certainly caught up on it later on. As of right now, the only Marvel Cinematic Universe movie I haven't seen is Captain Marvel, and that's more of just because I haven't really had enough time to fit myself into watching Captain Marvel. But the point is, I've been on this ride since the beginning, like most if not all of you guys. I do know some people who came in only with Avengers and didn't realize that all these characters had movies before Avengers. That was an interesting conversation. But I appreciated all the different references, all the different, you could almost describe them as tributes to the original movies in Endgame. But that being said, I liked Infinity War better. Mostly because Infinity War was a much better, tightly packed movie than Endgame was. My main problem with Endgame are the plot holes. And with Endgame, there are so many plot holes and conveniences that it's almost unforgivable. Notice how I said almost. I didn't say it is unforgivable, but it's such a large amount of plot holes and plot conveniences that it's almost unforgivable. How time works is they somehow spend a lot of time explaining how time travel works in the movie, yet you still leave the theater wondering, okay, but didn't they just doom a universe when Loki got the Tesseract? And then all the different questions you have with the whole Captain America thing at the end. If we're moving from timeline to timeline and making these changes and these timelines become different, essentially different universes, shouldn't Captain America not have been there? Shouldn't he have been in another universe? Or are we supposed to believe that he just sat back and did nothing all that time? Because that raises issues about the Captain America character. What about the whole everyone coming back where they were when they were unsnapped? What if you were in that one helicopter in the after credits scene of Infinity War? Do you all of a sudden just spawn in a building? What about the people who died in all the chaos that happened with the snap? They didn't get snapped away, but a car crashed into them and they died. They're not coming back. So everyone's coming back. What happens if your significant other has moved on? And what are you supposed to do? How many people suddenly have a new cat now that a cat got unsnapped and is in their house, but the owner has moved to a different house? How weird is it if you were in a relationship in high school and one of you got snapped and now they're unsnapped, but you're 5 years older, so there's a huge age difference? Or not necessarily age difference, but experience difference, because there's not a lot of years separating a high school senior from a college senior, but there's a lot of growth that happens between those 4 years. What if you got snapped while you were driving? Do you respawn in the middle of the road? How many people got killed because it just popped up in the middle of the road and then BAM? Is the entire school system just completely... The school system has to be crippled, right? The education system's not gonna work. I think we're probably gonna see more of that explained in Spider-Man Far From Home. Also, you're expecting to believe that every important supporting character in the Spider-Man movies got snapped so we can keep them at the same age as Peter. Here's an issue I had, the whole rat in the Ant-Man thing. You know, the entire fate of the universe relies on this one rat walking out onto that specific panel in Ant-Man's car. And I know Game Theory made a video explaining how it was always, like, there was only a 4% chance that a rat wouldn't, like, the odds were actually really high in favor of that happening, but still, that seems like a very convenient plot point for the entire fate of the world to hinge upon. The Ant-Man rat thing is really my largest complaint. For as much as Captain Marvel was hyped up for Endgame, you know, she was the focus of the after credit scene in Infinity War and all that. It was supposed to build up. Captain Marvel was supposed to play a bigger role in Endgame, but Captain Marvel didn't really do much of anything necessarily. That couldn't have been left out or done in any other way. Like, nothing signature to just Captain Marvel. Speaking of, I know they said Captain Marvel was really powerful and all that, and she was supposed to be the most powerful character, but I didn't see her really do anything that Thor couldn't do if he was physically able. So I was under the impression that Thor was left in the state Thor was in for Endgame in order to let Captain Marvel have some more time to shine, and I didn't really feel like she had much time to shine. The Thor thing was funny as a joke, but then it's one of those jokes that, alright, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can make Thor, like, sort of fat for this joke thing. And to show his character's response to Infinity War. But now he has to go through the entire movie looking like that. It just seems like a very weird chapter in Thor's history. A chapter that's in the finale. Can I get away with making this video without mentioning the scene where all the female characters get together? Like, are people going to expect me to talk about that scene? I know that scene has been, like, lambasted a lot. Frankly, it's obvious why it happened. But at the same time, it was a good scene. Like, I liked the scene. Wasp being there was a bit off from what we know where she was in the battlefield. But I don't think that was the most egregious plot hole in the movie. And I thought it was a cool scene. Like, it was well done. If you were able to turn off your brain as to why it was done and the in-universe criteria for that scene to have happened. Now, the creators of the film, the Russo brothers and what have you, have done a lot of Q&A stuff to explain stuff about the movie. I think they have confirmed that Captain America went back in time. He was always the husband of Peggy Carter and and just sat back and watched everything. But one, you shouldn't have to explain... So much of your film shouldn't have to be explained through interviews and stuff done after the fact of the movie being released. I prefer answers being available at least through inferencing in the movie itself. And two, I still have issues with Captain America just sitting back not doing. I think they said something along the lines of, you don't know if he didn't just sit back. He could have stopped things behind the scenes that you don't know about. And I'm like, okay, 9/11 still happened. He seemed to have let a lot of people die just so he could sit there at that place to meet up with Sam. Like, why wouldn't he, in character, just go on and create a different universe and go down that route, but through his own actions? It's not like all the timelines were fixed, because Loki still has that Tesseract in that one timeline. Why didn't Nebula say anything about the Soul Stone and how you get the Soul Stone? Like, they should just sit back and see Hawkeye and Black Widow go, like, we're gonna go get the Soul Stone, and Nebula's like, okay. Tony would have known something, right? Because, like, Nebula might have said something to him. So why did Tony just, like, okay, just go off? Like, you think someone would have stopped, okay, someone's gonna have to die to get the Soul Stone, so let's plan this out a bit. But nobody said that. Also, wasn't that scene where Doctor Strange, like, does that thing with the water tornado, wasn't that kind of pointless? Wasn't that just filler? Like, I don't understand the purpose of that scene. Thanos and all his forces from 2014 dying is gonna ruin that timeline too, isn't it? Some people might want me to bring up the whole Hulk thing, but I don't think I think the Hulk thing's kind of more just disappointing than it is a plot hole. That this whole arc between Bruce Banner and Hulk's duality just gets resolved off screen, when that clearly seemed to be a plot point building up in Infinity War. Anyway, there was a lot of plot holes in Endgame, and I know that it was a very good movie. There's a lot of praise for the movie, but I thought I'd just voice out some attention brought up to those plot holes, because it was kind of intense at how many plot holes there were. So I definitely think I liked Infinity War better than Endgame. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this video. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for it, so oh boy, can't wait for this comment section. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We talk about nerdy stuff over here. I'm also over on Twitter and Instagram. Check me out over there. And have a good day, ladies and gentlemen. Read the KOALAS mythos.